What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer video. We haven't got enough news for a transfer update today, unfortunately. Hopefully tomorrow we will. So instead, we're going to be having a look at some strikers that Man City in the last couple of days of the transfer window may make a move for. There's a strong possibility that they probably won't make a move for any of these players. But if they do, just want to have a quick look at some players that they might be tempted to maybe have a look at. And after all, literally anything can happen in the next couple of days. Things get a little bit crazy out there. Teams get desperate to sell or bring players in and things like that. So, like I said, literally anything can happen. So just have a look at some players and strikers that City may have a look at in case they did want to make a move. Now, before I crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then please do subscribe to my channel. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Now aiming for 21,000 subscribers. We're now less than 800 subs away, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. Doing daily Manchester City transfer updates throughout the rest of the summer transfer window, as well as plenty more Manchester City content for everybody to enjoy. Also, don't forget, social media links, they're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. My email also in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business enquiries. Leave a thumbs up as well if you did enjoy this video, aiming for 300 likes. Also, leave your thoughts of what you made of this transfer video in the comments below. Which player would you like to see Man City make a move for in the next couple of days? Do let me know in the comments below. And lastly, this video, it's sponsored. It's brought to you by the best footballing app out there, OneFootball. This video is brought to you by OneFootball. If you want to download the OneFootball app, all you need to do is press the link at the top of my description, which will take you forward to where you can download this app. The OneFootball app is extremely useful if you are a huge football fan just like me. It provides you with the latest footballing news, transfer news, and the latest videos as well. It is one source of information of where I get my transfer news from. It also allows you to see the latest scores with what's happening in the footballing world. If you just click on a game, including any Manchester City game, it will not only bring up the latest team news, but it will also bring up the latest statistics and keep you up to date with everything happening in that game. If you want to download this app, all you need to do is press the link at the top of the description to stay up to date. Thank you very much to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. It is much appreciated. OneFootball is a free app to download. If you want to help to support the future content that I create on this channel, then press that link at the top of my description. That'll take you to the download page to download OneFootball. OneFootball will keep you up to date with all the latest football news, transfer news, as well as latest scores, statistics, and all that good stuff. And OneFootball is a really good app to stay up to date as transfer deadline day does approach. So do go and download OneFootball through the link at the top of my description. Without further ado, let's crack on with this video, and we're going to start off by speaking about the first player. I'm running this chronologically in terms of realism, so starting first with the most realistic and then ending with players that are going to be a little bit more unrealistic. So I'm starting with Dusan Vlahovic, who plays for Fiorentina in Serie A. Now, the 21-year-old Serbian striker is an option for Manchester City. He's a tall, physical striker. He's a good finisher, good in the air as well. Reminds me a lot of Harry Kane. And like I said, he's 21 years old. He's young. He's definitely a good option for Manchester City. Now, firstly, maybe not in this summer, but maybe a move in January could not be ruled out. The point is, where we're at in this transfer is Fiorentina quite simply do not want to sell him. And I'm sure that if Manchester City got in contact with Fiorentina and with the player and made it clear that they wanted to sign him and they were going to pay big money to bring him in, I'm sure Fiorentina and the player would listen. It's all about, is that going to happen though, and how much are we talking when we say big money? We have previously heard that Fiorentina are looking for around 100 million euros. It has been spoken about in the last week or so that maybe 60 to 70 million euros could be enough. But personally, if they're looking for early figures of 100 million euros, then I'm not too sure 70 million euros would be enough. And with what's happened on the pitch for Manchester City, I'm not sure that we'll be spending so much money to bring Vlahovic in. And like I said, it could be a situation that we do assess going into January. But if the club want to make a move, a late move for any striker, I would say that Vlahovic is probably the most realistic player that we could have a look at. Now, another player that we could well consider is Lautaro Martinez. Now, it's ish realistic. He's 24 years old, plays for Inter Milan, plays as a forward. He has been linked with Manchester City probably for the last couple of summer transfer windows, and so it's not a player that is new to us. However, I would say him leaving Inter Milan is pretty complicated. The reason for that is quite realistic, that Lukaku, he's already left Inter Milan, so they don't want to be able to sell another striker because it's going to leave them short. We already know that Inter's finances aren't brilliant, and I'm sure if Man City went in with a big offer, Inter Milan would at least consider it. However, situation is with Lautaro Martinez is that he's set to sign a new contract. And so if Man City do want Martinez, I would say that we need to move very quickly. But it doesn't sound like we are. It doesn't sound like that is going to happen. And what I am expecting is Lautaro Martinez to sign a new contract at Inter Milan, which means, of course, that his value will increase. Now, another player that we could potentially consider is Robert Lewandowski. It sounds very unrealistic, but actually, if you start to dig beneath the surface, you'd realise actually there is a little bit of realism there. Now, apparently he's available for 100 million euros, which is way too much, of course, for a 33-year-old striker who's going to offer no sell-on value at all to Manchester City. It'd be ludicrous to go out there and do such a crazy thing. However, 33 years old, for a striker that isn't the quickest striker anyway, he relies on precision rather than pace. He's going to hold that precision, and I think he's going to hold that for at least another 4 or 5 years. So you start thinking about 100 million euros, actually 4 or 5 years out of a player that more than likely would top the Premier League goal-scoring charts with how creative Manchester City are and how lethal Robert Lewandowski is in front of goal. Sounds like it is going to be a good deal. Like I said, the only problem is there's no sell-on value. And City's relationship with Bayern Munich, it's not the greatest, if I'm completely honest. I mean, we sold Leroy Sané to Bayern Munich, but we was reluctant to do so. And so I'm not sure if I see this transfer happening, particularly not for 100 million euros. And another problem that we do face with Vlahovic, with Martinez, with Lewandowski, and the other players, because they're all non-homegrown players, is that with Man City willing to spend so much on Harry Kane, and then all of a sudden saying, actually, we're not prepared to spend any money on Cristiano Ronaldo, is suggesting a couple of things to me. Number one, we need to sell a player. More than likely, if a first-team player is to be sold, it would be Bernardo Silva. And second of all, it's suggesting to me that we have room for homegrown players in our squad, but not non-homegrown players. And so we'd need a non-homegrown player to leave our squad to bring a non-homegrown player in. And with English strikers, of course, Harry Kane, that's not happening, and the only other option that we kind of had was Danny Ings, which again isn't happening. And I know people have been saying players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Patrick Bamford. To me, these strikers, Mikel Antonio's also been mentioned, but to me, these strikers aren't of the standard that we're looking for. I mean, I find it quite crazy that we're talking in the same story, in the same breath of Robert Lewandowski joining Manchester City, and then speaking of players like, Patrick Bamford. To me, it's just can't compare them. There's just different levels to how good these strikers are. And to me, Lewandowski is closer to the standard that we should be looking for rather than a Patrick Bamford. No disrespect to Patrick Bamford. I do think he's a good player. Just we're looking for players that's going to help us win the Champions League. And to me, Lewandowski will help us, whereas Patrick Bamford, I'm not so sure about. So yeah, now what I would propose is, if we did want to make a move and kill a couple of birds with one stone, is we could offer Bayern Munich Bernardo Silva. His value is around 60 million euros, which to me is incredibly low. He's showcased in the last couple of games just how great of a player he is. We could say to Bayern Munich, do you want Bernardo Silva? In exchange, we'll give you 30, 40 million euros on top of that, which we do have, by the way. And if we offered that to them, that we could get Lewandowski. Like I said, though, there's no sell-on value, so I'm not sure City would go along. Like, if it was half the price, I'd say big thumbs up, go for it, make it happen as quickly as possible. But to 100 million euros just demonstrates just how important Lewandowski is to Bayern Munich, and I wouldn't rule out, even if you got to that figure, of Bayern Munich saying no and wanting even more, because he's just so valuable to them. Now, leads us actually really leads us nicely onto Erling Harlan. This actually, he's another option that City could well consider, and could certainly consider that this summer if they wanted to. They could consider it next winter. They could consider it next summer as well. Now, to me, I think Bayern Munich would really like Erling Harlan. The problem they've got is that his agent's going to want him to be going to the club that's not only willing to pay, obviously, the player the most money, but also willing to pay the agent and all his representatives the most money as well. He'll be looking to have a big payday from that transfer, and Bayern Munich aren't the richest club in the world, and so there are clubs out there with more money. Manchester City don't really get involved in that either, so it makes this transfer unrealistic. I would put Erling Haaland right at the top of the list if it wasn't down to his agent, but because Real is in charge, he is literally going to be looking for the most amount of money, and so it becomes very difficult. I mean, he does have a release clause, £70 million next summer. However, what Manchester City face the possibility of to Borussia Dortmund is we could say to them, we'll give you more money. And I'm sure there'll be clubs in January willing to give Dortmund a little bit more money to try and get a head start on Erling Haaland. We could use that 150 million euros that was put into one side for Harry Kane, and we could give Dortmund a nice big fee, like 110, 120 million pound. Put Erling Harlan on a nice big contract, making one of the highest paid earners at Manchester City, and pay his agent a lot of money. The problem is that a couple of years down the line, wanting a new contract, and then figures are just going to go absolutely through the roof, and then other big players at City are going to want their wages matching and paying even more, and our wage control will start to disintegrate among that, and City definitely won't be doing that. And so because of that, it makes this transfer so difficult. I really want Erling Harlan. I would pay more to have Erling Harlan at our football club. He is the logical sense to put in our front line. But because of the finances and how much that deal would cost, it's not just £70 million in a fee next summer. It's going to cost a lot of money in agent fees and wages and potential future fees on top of that as well, with new contracts and things like that. Raiola is the type of person that if City aren't willing, if he just does join us and we're not willing to pay him the next level, the £500,000, £600,000 per week, there will be other clubs out there, and he'll be trying to fabricate moves to try and get him to force to sign a new contract at City with the big wages, or potentially leave City. And I just don't see City wanting to get involved in that. Might City make a sensational late move for him and try and make that happen? Perhaps. It's going to be very difficult though. Like I said, agent is the biggest problem. Now, the last player I want to have a speak about, and it's not really been mentioned, but I'm just chucking it out there. Paulo Dybala, 27-year-old Argentinian forward, can cover an attacking midfield, can cover as a striker, but plays a false nine as well. His contract, it's up next summer at Juventus, so Juventus want him on a new contract, and if they don't manage to make that happen, Juventus may well consider selling him, because right now they're going to get more money for him than what they would in the winter if he doesn't sign a new contract, and they won't want to risk losing him for free. It's the same situation with Mbappe, who I've not included on this video, because quite frankly we all know that if he does leave PSG, it'll be to Real Madrid and Real Madrid only, so I'm just wasting my time putting that out there. Whereas with Dybala, he could well be an option. I rate Dybala. I think he's a fantastic football player. I'm not too sure though that he is the best option for Manchester City. That's why he makes it to the bottom of this list. But I certainly think he's an option. Like I said, finances are there. Obviously, it could be quite not a cheap deal, but certainly a cheaper alternative than some of the other players as well. 27 years old, younger than Harry Kane by a year as well. So if we was considering Harry Kane, I don't see 27 years old being too much of a problem. So we could well be tempted to maybe make a move, particularly if the contract talks do break down. I'm not expecting them to. I am expecting for him to sign a new contract, just like I'm expecting Martinez to sign a new contract at Inter Milan. So in the transfer window right now, it is pretty limited for Manchester City when it comes to attackers. And so we made the threat out to Spurs that we're not going to go in for Harry Kane next summer. There isn't many other options out there for us, if I'm completely honest. So do we stick? Do we twist? What do we go for? There's the questions that are going to get answered in the next couple of days whilst the transfer market is open. Now, one thing I would keep a very close eye on is potentially City having a look at some other players, particularly in the left-back situation. We do have Kinsella, we do have Ake, we do have Laporte, we do have Zinchenko, who can all cover at left-back. Not one of them that I've just mentioned to you then is a natural left back, and if City do sell Bernardo Silva, we could go out there and pay money to bring a left back in. We could also go out there and sign a player under the age of 21 that doesn't need registering in our squad to be brought in to play at left back. With the situation with Benjamin Mendy, we do not know what is going to happen. He's suspended by the club. We don't know how long it's going to take for this situation to be sorted. We face the prospect of losing one of our members of our squad. And we're obviously our natural left-back down, albeit Mendy doesn't play that many games. But City could be, if we're not signing a striker, be tempted to go and sort out another problem in our squad, which is having a look at a left-back. We all knew going into this summer we need a striker, we need a left-back. We haven't signed either of them at this moment in time. And if we know we're not going to sign a striker, City could be tempted to go out there and maybe bring in a left-back. And obviously the most realistic option that we would have at left back, and particularly if players don't need registering, will be to head to Portugal to go and sign Sporting Lisbon's left back in the form of Nuno Mendes. So he could well be an option for City to look at. Not too sure how much he would cost, but that remains to be seen. And he could well be an option. There could be other players out there as well that Man City may be thinking about making a move for. But like I said, that does remain to be seen. Nuno Mendes is 19 years old and wouldn't need registering. We'll see. We'll see. So there we go. That has been the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. Is City to make a move for any striker or any left back in the last couple of days of the transfer window? Who would you like Man City to sign? Let me know in the comments below. Do go and check out today's video sponsor, OneFootball. Link is at the top of my description if you want to go and download OneFootball, a free app to download. It does help to support the future content created on my channel if you do download the app through that link. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest football news, transfer news as we head into transfer deadline day. Definitely the app to be using when wanting to stay up to date with the very fast-paced transfer deadline day. It also keeps you up to date with all the latest scores, statistics, live league tables, and all that good stuff. Go and download OneFootball through the link at the top of my description. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. 21k, that's the aim. Less than 800 subs away, so any help towards that would be fantastic. And also don't forget to go and check out my social media links. They're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. My email also in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business enquiries. Partner channel links also in the description if you want to go and follow me. If you want to go and subscribe to my partner channels as well, that would be fantastic. And I'll see you all again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.